Welcome back to the Hero's Table. Today we're talking with Eugene Tay from Supernatural Confessions. Good morning, Eugene.
Hey, good morning, John.
Thank you for coming here on the podcast. I'm glad you came all the way to Yishun. I appreciate that. It's a place where weird things happen. The cool thing is you've actually been to this place before.
Exactly where we're sitting right now.
Exactly where we're sitting. Yeah, I did an interview. Okay, but if you don't mind giving me just a 1-minute elevator pitch about yourself so we can let the audience know what you're about.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Eugene Tay. You might recognize me online on YouTube as the guy who tells ghost stories, interviewing people for their folktale, folklore, and supernatural experiences. Also, the community calls me the Prince of Paranormal. So that's what I do. Recently, I wrote a book about this. Actually, I wrote this book 10 years ago. This is a 10-year reprint with new content about the things that has happened to me in the last 10 years.
Nice. Fantastic. So I look forward to reading all this. So you're into the paranormal, supernatural, right? The big question then is, where did that start? Was it long ago when you were young or?
Yeah, there's a few layers to this question. First of all, we are all in Singapore. It's an Asian thing. Most of us at least believe in supernatural. Even if we are modern and we are skeptical about the supernatural, our grandparents would have at least warned us.
There's some extent, right?
Yeah. And I'm Peranakan, so I grew up in an environment where everything was revolving the supernatural. If you fall sick, you fall down. Oh, that's because the ghost pushed you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's the kind of upbringing I had. So I always known or definitely believe in the supernatural, but it was not until 12 years ago where something terrible happened to me. There was documented every bit of it inside this book, which I'm happy for you to read later on. But that was when I started putting down my thoughts into paper and sharing it publicly.
Interesting.
It's also very dangerous for survivors of paranormal, people with paranormal experiences to speak about it out loud. Back then, 12 years ago when that happened, people call you crazy. You will hear things like, oh, it's really in the 2020s, like in the 2000s, who would believe in ghosts? No such thing as ghosts. Oh, you're immature, you're crazy, you're stupid, you're superstitious. And it was just a taboo to talk about things like that. Back then, you have other groups like SPI, Singapore Paranormal Investigators, other groups like Ghost Files Singapore. Ghost Files was out there trying to find evidence of haunting. SPI was out there to debunk haunting. And I was here saying that ghosts exist. Really counter to the culture. And when I released this book and talked about my supernatural experiences in a very visceral way, no holds barred, letting everyone just have it. And I was not out there to convince anyone there is or there isn't. It's just, that's my freaking experiences out in the book. Read it if you want to. No one's forcing you to buy it. Other people started coming up to me and said, thank you for doing this. I want to share my stories with you because I cannot talk about it to anyone. And the very first lady who called me up, she was a 70-plus-year-old woman. She said, I've kept this story in my heart for more than 30 years. My husband, my family don't even know about this. Can I share this with you? And she did. And after that 3-hour-long conversation, she said, thank you for listening. Now I don't feel alone. And that was powerful. The first of the whole cascade of people started reaching out to me and sharing with me. That started this whole Supernatural Confessions movement where, look, you don't have to believe.
Yeah.
Right? This platform is designed for people like me, like us, who just is a space to talk about it and not feel ridiculed. Then the entire Supernatural Confessions movement became a thing. And other people who wanted to join in just to listen, I said, cool if you listen, but we do not need your expert commentary. And people understood their assignment. It's like, if you start putting these people down and people don't feel safe to talk about it anymore, we are just going to go into hiding.
Yeah.
And you guys are not going to enjoy the stories. So nobody wins. So they were very supportive of it. And when people come in and go like, ghosts don't exist, the community shut them down. I didn't have to do anything about this.
Oh, your community took care.
Yeah, because they understood the assignment. It's like, so keep us safe for people with the real experience to come and share it so that everyone can enjoy it. And that became a thing. Then after that, I think in the last COVID time, we became mainstream. In the last few years, I started doing tours. So the idea of talking about supernatural experiences no longer become a taboo. You have TikTok creators, IG creators. Yeah. And now if you look at that and you scroll supernatural in Singapore, there's so much vibrant content.
There's a lot.
There was nothing like this 12 years ago.
No, there
Yeah.
wasn't. Okay, that's really fascinating. So then the question I have is, before all of this,
Yeah.
who was Eugene, right? But that's the interesting
Yeah.
part of the story is,
Yeah.
as you said, when you were growing up, a lot of things were connected to supernatural
Yeah.
situations. You fall down, you got
Yeah.
pushed by a ghost.
I like this question with you, John. Most people just see me as the Prince of Paranormal. They
Sure.
don't know I have a life before that.
I know. Okay. That's why you're here.
I was always into businesses, running businesses, successful businesses. So at the point of time where I started Supernatural Confessions, I was still running a day job. I was into business consultancy
Mm,
all the way until 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Now it's 2026,
interesting.
2023 or 2024. I decided to make a switch to do Supernatural Confessions full time.
Interesting.
Prior to that, while still running Supernatural Confessions, I was into business consultancy,
Mm,
product development. I would help startups design and understand what they want to build. I would sit down with CEOs and tell me this is their vision, and I will turn their vision into feasible business processes and
mm.
outcomes, testing the outcomes, and for them to sell it.
Would you be all right if we talked about those earlier days?
The one before that, yeah,
Like
sure.
even before, like what got you into that? Because
Mm.
I think it's quite interesting to hear the,
The
yeah.
okay, I'll start
So
off with what my first job.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Can even start there, or even when you were younger, like what was your interest when you were younger?
Oh, wow. Way back. Okay. So when I was really young,
Mm.
I grew up on things like Us Guides to Supernatural.
Oh, okay.
I was a huge consumer of paranormal stories. As a kid, I'm talking about kindergarten level.
Really?
The very first book I remember as a child reading and loving it and constantly borrowing it from the library is The Dark, Dark Room. Where the Wild Things Are, also
Oh
one of my
yeah,
favorite
wild
stories.
things are.
Then as I grew into primary school, I was the first guy in my class who read a thick book on
Mm,
Dracula.
really?
I didn't understand most of it because it's written in a way that even as an adult now reading it, it's like, man, this,
What is this guy talking about?
right? But I kind of just enjoy holding the book. So I read Frankenstein, Dracula, even Jekyll and Hyde. I probably read the abridged version, not the hardcore stuff. Then from that, it really just consumed horror after horror after horror. And I remember I was in primary six. So they had this bazaar where kids would come down and sell things. So you find kids making friendship band, selling drinks. And I wrote my first story, ghost story, of course, in little pieces of paper. I hand draw it myself, stapler it in the middle, sold it for 50 cents.
That's
Damn, I'm a published author at age of 12. Yeah. I think whoever's out there who still owns copy of that book, just hold on to it. One day when I get famous, that's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
That's
I've
pretty
always
cool.
been in creative line. Uh, and I, I wouldn't say I could never quite fit in because I felt that I could straddle both sides. I was a skateboarder, I was a cyclist, I was a school debater. So as much as I would like to go with the narrative that I'm the weird guy that always stands outside and never quite fit in, no, I could do that.
Yeah.
But deep down inside me, there's always that love for the paranormal. And this was in the era where I had no smartphones, no
Mm,
internet,
mm,
barely a modem. There was nothing. So the only thing that you could do as a child growing up in Singapore is to go out there, explore, and have fun. And that's what I did. So if any of you listening in knows the East Side very well, there's a block called 611 in Bedok Reservoir that used to be the urban legend of the East.
mm.
Before Changi all came about, there was one entirely abandoned block in a whole cluster of HDB, and they would barricade the place, wooden signs and all that. So as a child growing up, that's where I would go and explore and imagine I find ghosts and all that. Never did I imagine that one day I would really end up finding ghosts. At that point of time when I was in secondary school, there's this book called The True Singapore Ghost Story.
Yes, I know that one.
I was there when the first book hit the shelf. That's kind of how old I am right now. Book number one came out and I read it cover to cover. And John, that spooked the hell out of me.
Did
It was because of True Singapore Ghost Story that made me not be able to look at myself in the mirror.
hmm.
You would go to the bathroom at night and Back then, it's like, okay, go brush your teeth. You go brush your teeth. You won't bother turning on the lights because it's just going to quick dash the toilet, toothbrush, brush your teeth with a bit of light spilling out from the living room. You can kind of see your silhouette in the mirror, and that's okay. But after I read the book, I could not do that. Because I always imagine that if I looked away, my reflection would just stand there and smile at me.
No.
Or if you sleep and your leg is like sticking off the bed and outside the blanket, oh, there's a hand who's going to come and grab you.
Cannot.
So True Singapore Ghost Stories sort of cemented the fear of ghosts in me. So my grandma did the first seeding. True Singapore Ghost Story did the rest.
That's great. Your grandma set the foundation.
Yeah.
When you were at that age,
Yeah.
I guess this was secondary school, were you starting to think about what you wanted to do in life? Because a lot of people try to push you into practical sort of.
Yeah, it's a very Asian thing. I wanted to be an archaeologist, very much inspired by Indiana Jones. I actually have a fedora, I have a satchel, and that was my look.
Really?
Yeah. My very first cat is called Indy, short for Indiana.
Yeah.
So grew up very influenced by Indiana Jones.
Nice.
Right, I'm going to be that guy who's going to research some things. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to treasure hunt. And I only to realize that there is no archaeologist courses in Singapore, let alone a job that you can apply for. So I didn't quite know what to do realistically after school. So I went with the only thing that my mom said, hey, this can make money. Why not? And this was in the 90s, mid-90s. The career choice that was lucrative at that time was programming, coding, computer. It was the internet boom right, back then, the mid-90s all the way to the dot-com bubble. If you were a coder, like my uncle was, he was working at Texas Instrument, he was making $8,000. He was like, wow, he was a golden boy of the whole family. So my mom was like, yeah, you should. And I don't know if you remember that time, there was a particular movie called The Hackers.
Yes,
starring
I remember
Angelina
that
Jolie as Crash Override, Zero Cool, Serial Killer. And I was like, oh, I want to be them. I want to dress up like that. I want to be a hacker. So I took on computing and I realized that the reality couldn't be further from fiction. And no one in my cohort looked like them. Everyone was a nerd. I was like, damn, where's the cool people at? Where, no one's skateboarding to school.
Nobody's skateboarding to school.
But I did pretty well as a programmer, as a coder. I kind of aced it. And that's when I began to realize that I have a talent for taking a blank page, putting things on it, and bring it to life. Just like being a writer. Blank piece of paper, you put words, you put picture, then it becomes something. Same thing. Programming, you open your notepad, it's blank, you code, something happens. So I loved that all along. So I graduated at 97. I went to army, came out. Guess what? Dot-com bubble burst, industry tank, everything collapsed. If you tell people you're a programmer in 1999, it's almost like telling someone you're into crypto. It's like, oh, you're solid. Hey, don't talk to me about it. So I furthered my studies. I took a degree in computer science, double down, it's double or nothing, and went out to look for a job. At that stage, 2001, I really threw my resume at everyone. I remember this company called me up. Portal People, that's the company's name. I don't think they exist anymore. So spoke to me, sat me down, and I said, I want to be a programmer. Still full of hope. This guy came out of a university with his degree. Oh, white picket fence. Yes, I've lived the dream. My mother says, study hard, go to university, get a degree, you get a good job. Why not? Here I am, society, give me my good job that you promised. Only to realize that no one was hiring. And the boss told me, like, yeah, I would hire you as a programmer. I'll pay you $2.20 a man hour. And that did not register because all I heard was, yes, I would hire you. And I go like, sure, I'll take it up, boss. When do I start? He goes like, you're not hearing me. We are paying $2.20 a man hour for a programmer.
This is 2001, right?
Yeah. It's like $2.20. Wait a minute. I make more money working at 7-Eleven and McDonald's. And he says, that's my point. Because all the programming jobs around the world has now gone to India. So India was the tech hub. Like you could outsource your programming. Like almost like a blue collar job, like a factory job, all the way to India. So people like me, man, you out of luck.
Goodness.
So I said, you know
Yeah.
what? I would do anything. Like, give me any job. I would do anything. Right? He said, okay, there's 3 bosses here. You are the only staff. The job's yours. But you do everything else. From admin to accounts to sales to short of doing programming because there's a whole India team doing programming, but you can manage them. So I said, a job's a job. Okay. And I sat there, first day of work, nice briefcase. What's that brand? Is that a Braun? You know what I mean? It was like
The pencil holder, right?
the pen here, the Mont Blanc, the fake Mont Blanc. By the
The
way,
fake
I
one.
bought it from Thailand. I remember it was a fake Mont Blanc, Mont Blanc, I call it. And I had a whole briefcase because, this was just out of the 2000. Holding a briefcase is signifying professionalism. So came into work, necktie. I remember it was a G2000 blazer, like cheap as hell. But man, I felt like $1 million. Walked right in, sat down and go like, okay, I'm ready to work. What do I do? So they said, that's a stack of yellow pages. You just call whoever you want and you try to sell it. If you can sell things in a month, well, you're hired. If not, well, thank you for trying. Your paycheck is $1,200. After CPF take home is $900. So I went to work like A all the way to Z. Right? I'll call one by one. Every single line, I'll call the business directory. And I realized after a while that nobody wants to talk to a sales executive. They were like, oh, well, let me talk to your boss. Let me talk to your manager. I'm like, well, my boss isn't going to speak to you because I'm supposed to do the job. And I went up to my boss after a couple of weeks. I'm like, boss, this says sales executive on my name card. Will you be okay if we change you to sales director? Oh, you know what? Sales is such a bad word. Can we do a business development director? Right? They said, yeah, sure, call yourself whatever you want. Just bring the sales. They didn't care. So when I changed to business development director, that turned my whole life around. People now start taking me seriously. I started closing deals, like small deals, like, okay, closing a couple of hundreds here, a couple of thousands there. And of course, the boss was like, yeah, finally someone coming in to make a big difference. And I think the biggest change in my life was sometime after the first year. And this was me hustling hard before the word hustle was even used in a positive way. Back then, where I come from, the word hustle was to lie and cheat. But these days, when you say I hustle hard, means you're hardworking.
Motivational speakers have taken over that one.
Yeah, so still couldn't wrap my head around that. So back then, I was working hard, and I would travel down to places like Benoi, Tuas. These are the ass end places of Singapore that nobody's going to service them and cater to them. But traditional businesses that have not adopted tech. So I went down and I canvassed the entire place, door to door. So my biggest breakthrough was this bunch of old men working at Keppel shipyard. And they had like 4 different Keppel branches there. So I spoke to them, sold them the idea, told them what I could do for them. And they said, yeah, we have our own IT team as well. I said, yeah, but your own IT team may not have the new knowledge. And I'm not here to replace them. I'm here to support them. Again, not a competitive mindset, but more like, how can I help you level up? So they kind of liked it. And of course, the tech guy did not feel threatened by me at all. And they said, okay, let's talk. So after talking, they said, all right, we now have to go for an open tender, which means after I spent all this time selling, preaching, and pitching to you, this idea is going to be placed out there for everyone to compete. But be that as it may, we went to pitch as well. And I was sitting around with big boys. Like these guys, like they come with a team and their suit were real suit, right? Not the G2000 shit I was wearing. But you know what? I sat there, soloed the whole thing, and we won a contract.
Wow.
And that contract was for a few $1 million.
Whoa.
And my bosses, I thought, right, 3 bosses plus me, they were like, tell me what you want, bro.
Yeah.
So I became, I'm blessed they did not exploit me or anything. Yeah, I mean, 1,200 and 900 was an agreed upon salary. But after I closed that deal, they were like, you want to be a partner of the company? Take this laptop. Here's an O2 phone is for you. The O2 phone was like the iPhone of its era.
Yeah.
And I was very well taken care of. And then they said, do you want to be a partner? Whatever you do is working, you want to be a partner. And then at that point of time, I think I was in my early 20s already. I could close a couple of $1 million for you. God damn, I can do it for myself.
Yes.
And so I said, no, I would like to try other things. And the boss shook my hand. His name is Ram. Shook my hand and says, if ever you want to start a business and you need someone to bankroll you, talk to me, let me know. So we went on a very solid footing.
It's good.
So after that, I started doing other businesses. The first one I did was a pharmaceutical business. Uh, there was someone who I met, a friend of mine, whose family owns the rights to create prostate, uh, some prostate pill for old men.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was a young man trying to sell prostate pills to old men. That didn't quite work out. And I said, you know what, I'll try something else. And the next one I did was, because at that point of time, I was in my early 20s,
Yeah.
24, I think, and I was clubbing a lot.
That's clever.
I know clubbing isn't such a word anymore, but back then in the early 2000s, R&B came in, the club scene was, vibrant. So I was partying. And I was, of course, spending money. And I hate spending money.
Mm.
I want to make money to have fun. I don't want to spend money to have fun. So I was looking at the whole club scene. I was like, instead of blowing money, how can I make money? Let me do this. Okay. So Monday is usually off days for most clubs. Sundays is boys' night, gays' night,
Oh,
gays and lesbian night.
sure.
Thursdays usually is empty because Wednesday is all the mambos and the retros. Tuesdays would be like it's the early part of the week, so no one kind of a club. So they give it out to people who would be like air stewards, air crew night. So Thursday was the day before Friday. Most people would save it for Friday. So I said, let me go around to various clubs and ask them, how much do you make on Thursdays? And they will go, oh, I'll make about 1,500 at a bar. There's usually not many people around. And I go like, you know what? I would pay you 1,500 if you let me run an event here. You're not losing a cent. You're making 1,500 that you already wouldn't be making. I'll bring people in. If they spend, you get my 1,500 and more. But here's the caveat. I need to throw a party. I need to work with certain brands. I'm going to bring brands in. I'm going to bring people in. Is that okay? As far as the club is concerned, it's about dollars and cents.
Mm.
Do what you want, son. So I started creating the underground parties.
Mm.
I would bring DJs. I'll work with various alcohol brands that is not yet broken in Singapore. I'll place them there. So the deal is any brands that I sell, that money is mine. If people don't want to drink my drink, they want to buy beer, whatever, that's yours to keep. So the bar's totally fine with that. And this was before there was Facebook, before there was Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So there's not many ways to get the word out. There was no WhatsApp either. So sending text messages cost you 5 cents. So we had to rely on the old word of mouth. The more underground we were, the more hard to get we were, the better it is for virality. I would release the day, the place of party. It's going to be every Thursday. I'll release the place of party an hour before. And it's a limited space only. If you cannot go in because it's full, it's full.
Mm.
Oh, word spread like wildfire.
Sure.
Then I was this guy who was running this underground parties on Thursdays, and you need to know people who knows people to get in. So that became such a hit. I was making shitloads of money. And back then you could even smoke in the clubs.
Yeah.
And it was a particular brand of cigarettes where it came up to me and says, well, we cannot advertise publicly, but tell you what, if you place this carton of cigarettes at your table and you only smoke my cigarettes, I'll give you 20 grand a month. That's it. All you have to do is just put my cigarettes there, give it out freely, and you smoke it. Sure, why the hell not? That alcohol people would come in and go like, I want to break into Singapore. Can I work with you? Because I like the underground scene, my underground label. And I did all that. And I think in the 6 months we were rolling. I think my friend of mine was like driving Maserati after that and all. But things started getting very slippery. And I looked at myself in the mirror. Months after that, I couldn't recognize myself. Because to get that one party on a Thursday, I would need to be seen as the guy. And I was drinking every other week. I was in VIPs. I was living a decadent lifestyle. Ladies, booze, champagne, cigarettes, everything was paid for. So I was like the Don sitting in a VIP. And when you are in that position, people will come up to you telling you to sell drugs. Like, come on, bro, just slip use something here. It's free. Take it, right? So it's going to be a very slippery slope. And I knew instinctively that if I stayed a month more, I would get dragged down. This is not going to be a career for me.
Mm.
And so I sold my shares to my partner. I said, you know what, carry on with it. I'm done. And I stepped out. And
Good on you.
after I stepped out, a few months later, I realized the other people in the scenes started like sprouting because it's a good business model. And the police came down hard on the drug movement. Hard. So I exited just at the right place, right time. The next job I did was an entirely 100% change. I was into children's education. in
Wow.
creative writing. Such an wholesome life,
I
right?
know,
Look
right?
at me, party guy to decent nerd, teaching kids how to write books. So I sunk in all the money that I had into business, set up a school. I got everyone to sign up. Before I set up the school, before I did business, I did my groundwork. I sent out surveys and asked people, would you come for my class if I run this? Oh, this is great. Creative writing is the best thing. We all need it. I knew we needed it because I realized that at that point of time, children were just memorizing textbooks just to pass exams.
Yeah.
There's nothing creative about it.
Mm,
And I was sad. I was like, damn, you get children to read books, but in exam, you cannot write what you read.
mm.
What's the whole point? So I wanted to teach kids to be really creative. And I went out there and I canvassed and I get 100% good response. So I pumped in all my money. I set it up. The day I opened my business, expensive suit this time, no more G2000, I had a whole tray of buffet set up, 50 odd chairs for parents to sit down and listen to my grand opening. Teachers were hired. And on the day, no one turned up. It was raining and pouring and
Aw.
no one turned up. Teachers were all looking at me. I was looking at them. We were all looking at the food. I'm like, can you just call them to see whether they're coming? Time has passed, 15 minutes, half an hour, no one came. It was an awkward moment. So I said, teachers, tapao and take home some food lah.
Mm.
And it all just like, couldn't wait to get out of the place. And I understood it's just painful to be there. So I sat there with like my plate, my fried rice and sweet sour fish. It was raining outside. I had this little teardrop coming down. Fuck this shit. And of course, that business in the first year, it struggled. I was burning money and there was no one coming in. So whatever I made, I kind of just gave it to a landlord and everyone else just to maintain. So I think at the end of the first year, I was back down to where I started. Like
Mm.
money came in, money left. So throughout that 1 year, people have been saying, you know what, Eugene, you're insane. No one's going to buy your course. What do you call your company again? Masters under the bed. What kind of shit company name is that? People who are out there who are successful running education company, they're called Adam Cool Learning Technology, Learning Labs. How serious are these names? You're not serious in this at all. And who are you? Are you a teacher? Do you have an MOE cert? No. Are you a published writer? No. So who gives you the damn right to run an education school and to be a writer? This is not just crazy, it's stupid. But I felt that I had something to give. I just totally felt it in my bones. No, we need this. And then people show me newspaper headlines. At that point in time, I think it was 2006. There was a newspaper headline that says, tuition industry, $1 billion.
Mm.
Right. And then my mom will come up to me and say, what are you doing? Why don't you just teach tuition? Huh? And all the more when these people came out to say like, I couldn't do it, I was stubborn as hell. Stubborn. And to be fair, at that point in time when I was stubborn and sitting down and just hunkering down, I could not tell you any feasible, logical, intelligent reason why I should not just quit. Like all intelligent points would tell you that, no, this guy is just not fit for this. But I knew I had something to offer. I believe in what I wanted to do. And even if I wasn't qualified, I could get the information. I could get the knowledge. I could hire the right people. But the world needed this. So still, stubborn as hell, not wanting to give up on the business, and having spent all my money, I needed to find money. So it was a chance encounter where my friend said, I'm going to go to Singapore Airlines and try to apply for a stewardess job. Can you just go with me? I'm like, yeah, okay. Why not? So I went there with her. She was Miss Singapore Universe at that time. And we thought she was going to get it. So I went down, so I filled out the form. I sat down inside with her. Turns out she didn't get a job. I got a job.
You get the job.
So I'm like, okay, since I'm already a steward, why not? And I found out from my friend that, as a steward, you work about 14 days in a month. The other time you're either outstation or in Singapore, you can do whatever you want. I'm like, that's not bad. Getting paid with your with allowances and everything is about 4K to 5K on top of your basic a
Mm.
month. Like, that's not too bad for 14 days work, and I still get time to do my things. And so for the next 1 year, I did that. I flew and I did business. I was overseas while people were going shopping and out there experiencing life. I was eating cup noodle in a hotel room, typing away my keyboard, sending out invitation and meetings. When I got back to Singapore, I didn't rest. I went to meet clients. 1 year after that, and climbing up and knocking on all sorts of doors, getting shut down by MOE multiple times, shut down by schools multiple times. Schools told me, we do not need this program.
Mm.
Parents told me, why should I take on your program? Does this help my son or daughter in passing the exam? I said, yes, but not directly. Not in a way that you could memorize a 10-year series, regurgitate, and then pass your exam. I'm teaching your kid to be creative so that you don't have to rely on tuition teachers. But I remember this one chance encounter with the deputy of Ministry of Education at the time, like second in command only to the Minister of Education. His name is Benjamin Kong. And I sat down with him at MOE headquarters, and he told me, Eugene, I love what you do, except in Singapore, anything that we do in MOE takes 7 years of testing before we implement.
Mm.
We love what you do, but we can't take this. And I looked at him square in the eye and I said, if you can't sign off on this, then no one can. Singapore is doomed. And you're number 2 guy, right? And you tell me MOE cannot do anything. He says, maybe MOE is not the right place for you to go. You should go to my colleagues at the Arts Council. And amongst their peers, all these like young directors, they want to make a big difference. So they're always looking out for young entrepreneurs with ideas like this so that they could work with. And if the idea fail, they don't burn. They just cut this guy off and you never existed. Black site, right? But if the idea works, then they're going to take on this product and they look heroic. So I said, okay. So I went over to National Arts Council and I can't remember who I met. I think it was Michelle. And she says, yep, we love this. We're going to sign off on this. This is now considered arts elective program. And I was one of the first few. Now there's tons of arts elective out there. But when I first got it, was one of the first few arts elective program, 60% subsidy. So anyone who signs up, they pay 60% less.
Wow.
So immediately having that little stamp of approval, all the schools that heard about it now wanted to buy the product. So I went back down to the schools and the very people that I met just last year who says, no, it's not going to work, don't bother, didn't want to, now goes, oh my God, this is great. Wow, why did you come to me earlier? And I remember this lady, her name's called Samantha. I was like, I don't know if you remember me. I just came here a few months ago. You said this is stupid, you don't want it. She was like, no lah, I didn't say that. This is good. So the next year, I became just the golden boy of creative writing. And the next, probably 5 years after that, creative writing became a thing. I became synonymous with creative writing, creative thinking. And parents were saying, yeah, we need this for our children. Why not? Children cannot be memorizing exams anymore. That's the same thing I was saying a year ago. After I get this little stamp here, that's the only difference. The materials have not changed. Everyone needs this now.
Everybody said, yeah.
Yeah. So as much as I was annoyed with it, I understood the game that you cannot try to win a battle by convincing one person.
Yeah.
And if you're a musician and artist, they will tell you the same thing. If you want to sell in Singapore, go outside, get validation from overseas, and then your own locals will support you. Yeah. So I ran that for 10 years. And within that 10 years, I created the first educational board game. I did a lot of firsts. Even at my peak, I created education product, make history fun again for kids. And I went to the Istana, shake hand with the late President Naden, presented the box to him. Nice. So I did all that. It was a great 10-year cycle. In the last 2 years of my business of running Monsters on the Bed, I had this happen to me. So I couldn't concentrate on business, but I was very thankful I had a business because then I could focus on this while I'm still making money on the side. But because I wasn't paying attention to the business and I had new partners coming in while they read it to the ground. So we managed to sell off. They capitalized on it, but that's a different story altogether. It made me wiser about trusting people. So once the company was sold, I went on into doing solo consultancy where I'm done with brick and mortar. I'm done with hiring people. I'm done with trusting people. Just me, myself, and I, my brain, my client. And I remember one particular company, I can't mention their name. It's pretty big. And then they came in like, oh, Eugene, you are now like free, you're no longer with the company, we're going to hire you. So I got a 5+1+1 year contract to create programs and create a new way of delivering programs for schools. So at that point of time, I really established creative writing. Creative writing was a thing now, but the organization that hired me wanted me to help children understand the importance of values. People were now results oriented, but when you talk about values like integrity, responsibility, respect, these were buzzwords. Not important in the eye of the Singaporean community because you can't get an A with that. You can't get a degree with that. Study first, be responsible later. So you have an entire generation of students that come up that were very selfish, self-centered, couldn't play ball. They don't understand tenacity, grit, or respect for any authority. So then I was tasked to create a program to teach the young kids or to deliver it to schools for the schools to teach the young kids values. So I created something called the Heroes Within journey. And the
Okay.
whole concept is this. You cannot teach Jonathan to be honest by giving him an A for him ratting out his friend. It's like, oh, Jonathan, you're a snitch. Here's an A. You got good points for integrity. It doesn't work that way. The children must feel what values means to them because it's such a high concept term. So if you create a safe sandbox environment where Jonathan can come in, he can play the villain, he can play the supporting actor, he can play the hero, and then he decides for himself what is the repercussions of each action. That teaches Jonathan more in his own experience than the schools ever can. So when I came up with the idea, it was of course pushed back by mainstream schools because I had a backing of a very powerful organization who says, you know what, we are going to implement this. But if it fails, we have never heard of you. But if we succeed, the rights belongs to us. Do you agree? Spit on it and shake. Whatever, you're the boss. So when I finished that contract, I went on to do commercial work for startup companies, putting together my idea of understanding business values, business construct, processes, and creativity. So there's again the best of all my works coming together. And I sold it to the highest bidder. And people would pay me for consultancy fee. I would help companies make millions. One of the local ride hailing, I was the advisor for them.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty big deal. But then I began to feel a little bit sad for myself. Like in my 40s, I'm building things for people. Where's my legacy? Like all these founders are driving new cars. And if the idea fails, it's my fault.
Yeah.
If the idea succeeds, he gets a new girlfriend, a new condo, a new Maserati. Like, God damn, this is a bad deal. But at that point in time when I did it was because there was no stress. I had zero stress. No overheads, nothing. It's just me selling an idea. If the idea works, good for you. If it doesn't work, that's it. It's bad for my rep. That's it. But then I started getting a bit sad because I'm in my 40s. I'm trying to build a legacy. Where does this lead me? If tomorrow I stop being a consultant, tomorrow, touch wood, if I got into a car crash and half my brain is gone, that's it. I'm out of job. There is no legacy. There's nothing that I have built that lasts past me. So I was in a state where I was thinking, maybe I should stop Supernatural Confessions and just focus on building myself, building my business. Because Supernatural Confessions make $0. And then some voices came in from the top and says, oh, you shouldn't. You should continue SC and stop your day job. Of course, at that point in time, I was like, get the fuck off. And I said, how am I going to earn money doing Supernatural Confessions or spiritual work? Like, no one makes money off that. The voices say, oh, money is an illusion. Fast forward a few months later, they were right. And I decided that at the age of 44, I now have a choice between doing what I love, which is SC for the people, or pursuing career, which I could do anytime. With my skill set and knowledge, I can do it anytime. So I turned off I switched. I turned the switch in my head and I just did SC full time. And I told myself, you know what, if I could do these businesses for everybody else, I could do it for myself.
Correct.
And I did.
Correct.
And one thing led to another. Last year was a 10-year anniversary. We flew like mad. We have this book out. We have new business verticals. Numbers grow. Straits Times talked about us. And next year, this year, 2026, I'm launching the pathway for the next 10-year cycle.
Oh.
And it's so freaking exciting, John. I'm so excited to tell you about that later on.
I look forward to that. Okay, so in all of this, what was it that actually got you into doing Supernatural Confession? And to start it, because it's a big YouTube channel.
Everything happens organically. I did not set out 10 years ago to do what I want to do now, back then. It was literally just a safe space for people to share. I wanted to share my story. And to me, it was a very cathartic experience to write this book, close the book, and I was done. It was a part of my history that I remembered and I accepted and let go. But this book became such an anchor for people beyond that, where they found this book to be very comforting because they had experiences that they cannot talk about. So they started coming out of the woodworks. They started sharing.
Do you want to share your story?
My story, okay, very briefly, someone I love got possessed. It was a time where I did not know what to do. I knew what possession looks like. I knew what spirits are and what demons were by watching movies and reading a lot of books. I have no idea how to solve this. It was only to the point where she was so close, she being my girlfriend in the book, so close to getting admitted into a mental institution that our parents and myself decided that no, we are before we take that last step into the IMH, where you're in this point of no return, your medication for life, let's just go look at other alternative healing modalities.
Yes.
Right. So
Interesting.
by that, I mean going to places like Momo, shamans, Tanki. These are all people who are in the field of spiritual cleansing and exorcism work. Turns out that the few people that we go to all told us the same thing. She's haunted by a very ancient spirit. So we didn't know what the hell was that. We're trying to like fight it. And throughout that period of 1 year, she was attacked on all sides by demonic entity, wandering spirits, even divine entities came in. And I spoke to them because she was in trance. And I spoke to them. And one time they told me, we are the lights. We are the lights. And we are here to pass you information. She's about to die. She's going to die because she protected you. Talking about me. I'm like, what the hell? This is James Gunn level, of
Yeah.
storytelling. And they said, next week, Monday at 9 a.m., she'll start dying. I had no idea what it was. But I was too ominous, too macabre to tell her. So when she got out of trance, I did not mention it at all. And I just played it cool. The following week, she was at work, 9 a.m. She fell unconscious at work. She was brought to the hospital. So when I didn't get any call from her at 9 a.m., because I was waiting for the time, I like give me a message at 9:05 to check. No reply until 10 plus, where her colleague texted me and says, oh, she's in hospital. My heart sank. So
Yeah.
part of me understood that something must have come to pass. So in my mind, I was like, oh, maybe accident or something. When I went to hospital, I found out that she had a blood disorder, muscle dysentropy or something. I can't remember the word, but things that you could not fake. Things were supposed to be hereditary or there all along, but she got it overnight. Doctors couldn't understand why. So the official reason was, oh, some of this could be latent and just activated at a certain point. But I knew that a week ago. And also something you could fake.
Yeah.
So I knew then if everything was accurate to what the lights had said, then she's going to die. So then there was a series of adventure where I then decided to take it upon myself to figure out how to deal with the supernatural. Because remember, the light says she protected you. And when one of those nights, she told me, she said, Eugene says, if I die, would you promise to find my soul? And the only answer I felt was appropriate to say at that time was yes, I would. But I had no idea how to do that. I had no idea how to keep that promise there. So then I started throwing myself into the paranormal scene, doing really stupid things, inviting ghosts to come take me. The part of the movie where the guy stupidly says, "Take me, leave her alone." Yeah, I did all that.
Okay.
Did all that. Because you're desperate.
Yes.
And I sat there on the chair, and night after night, I was sat there on the chair, and I was like looking down the street, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not married to her. I don't know her shit. I could just walk down there and turn right, and that's it. I could have my life back. I thought about that for months, night after night. I could never do it. I thought about it, could never do it. So saw it to the end. But at the end, when eventually I was told that I could do it myself, and I learned how to do it. Of course, I was a bit skeptical. I pay you money to do it. You tell me that I can do it. I want my money back, bro. So she said that. We set her in a circle. I lit up some candles, and I said, okay, call the spirit in. We're going to lock her down. And then I'm going to do something. Do what? I don't know. Apparently, it just come to me. So set her down. Call the spirit. So by then, she could communicate with the spirits already. So she called the ancient entity down into her body. And as she was getting possessed, I was trying to light up all the candles around her to create a protective circle, to lock it in with me in the circle. I did not know what to do. And I just trusted. Okay, to be fair, I did not trust anything, but I was desperate and had no other option. It's either do or die, so just do it, right? Set her down, light up the circle, and immediately I stood up and I put my hand on her head, and I don't know why. I closed my eyes and I saw lights. I saw golden lights, purple lights, lights. There was no image, there was no levitation, just her growling. After a while, it becomes silent because I just drowned everything out. That was such a deep meditative state. Half an hour later, I opened my eyes and I knew instinctively that it was all done. So that point on, it unlocked something in me. And I knew, all right, I think if I could do this for me, maybe I could do it for other people. But I never could, I could never find that power again. Could not. And I could never help others because I guess it was no longer as desperate. There was no life and death situation. So after that cleansing, she was okay. She was fine. But we all knew this was not forever. She needed this downtime to figure her own powers out. That's her journey. But for me, we kind of separate ways after that. then I became the help for other people that I did not receive when I was in trouble.
Mm.
So I knew that a young, desperate, helpless Eugene would benefit from having a person like me. So I became that guy. Anyone who had problems calls me up. I will never mock you and I will laugh at you. I'll listen to you. I'll try to find my ways to help you out. And I did for 10 years. But at the end of the last 2 years, right, that's when I came into my own. I had, because I was already working with spiritual masters. I knew them for years. And they were like, you know what, why don't you do it yourself? Why did some of this thing you could do it? Why are you calling us to do simple things? Like, do it yourself. So they started training me and it unlocked. And then now I can do that again. So I came one full circle, the hero's journey. Like you started off as this helpless young boy, you came back around, now you go back to the ordinary world again as the very man that you were looking for when you
Mm.
first started. So this is my hero's journey.
Yeah.
I came one full circle. That's how I started Supernatural.
That's fantastic. On the hero's table, the hero's journey. I love that. And wow, that's a very powerful story. And I'm sure you've heard a lot of other people's ghost stories too over the years and everything. And you've watched, the supernatural confessions just grow and evolve. And it slowly turned into you doing more of the tours now as well.
Yeah.
How did you pivot into that? Like, what was the spark for you?
I think it was a very natural pivot. I was sitting on thousands of stories, and as a innate storyteller, I found that some of these stories connect. And when I listen to all these stories as a whole, I found that they actually paint the entire picture. So think of every story that is given to me as a jigsaw puzzle piece that I could piece together and form a full story that was not found in any history textbook, not found in any tour, not found in any narrative. There was nothing like that of the sort out there. And I felt I had that responsibility because I had that stories and had that view for me to want to share. When I first created the tour, it was created not because I knew instinctively there was a business out of it. It was never a business first mindset. It was, this needs to be told. Someone needs to know about the Changi story. We all know Changi is haunted. Like, throw a stone, hit someone, and ask them, where's the most haunted part of Singapore? Changi. Why? I don't know. Someone else said. So I was like, okay, well, let me try to tell you why. And not tell you why in a, I'm an expert, I'm an educator, I'm going to knock your head with this book, and like, this is a fact. I'm like, I'm just going to share with you what I've heard, what I've known. You decide. Let's talk about this. Is it true? Is it not true? Is there something in between? And I think the beauty of the supernatural world is that we don't know. And because we don't know, neither you or I can claim to be expert. And this spot between us is where it gets really interesting to talk about. So the tour was that. The tour was designed for that. And I ran the tour for a few months. People loved it because people always thought that, oh, Eugene Tay equals ghost story. What they didn't see on the tour was there's the story, there's the history, there's the lore, there's the immersion because we are in the space, there's the storytelling portion. There's so many layers in a tour that you do not get on my Friday Night Live. You do not get from just a featured confession. So this was an entirely different beast.
Yeah.
And I was happy doing it. I was doing it with my best friend, John. And I had the idea years before. It was not till John came in. We sat down one day at Coastal Settlement. In that 1 hour, boom, it came to life. Like, we did not need fancy boardroom meetings. He was excited, I was excited. I came to knowledge, she came to knowledge. She was a theater practitioner. I'm a storyteller. We just weave magic, and Walk with Hatu Changi came about. So when we ran that internally for the community members. People loved it. But we always thought, of course, community will love it. You're selling to fans. Fans will love whatever you give. I'm not downplaying that. It's just, as a fan myself, to whatever band that I am listening to, they can do no wrong. But the real litmus test is when you're selling to people who are not fans of the show. How are they going to react? So when we started selling to public, we were very happy doing that because we were getting legitimate feedback from people who have no knowledge of who we are before, have never seen our work, don't know us. So that's a very clean test. Then Singapore Tourism Board called me up. Usually we like to speak to you. John, I thought I hit jackpot. STB and all recognized Supernatural Confessions. I went down happy to shake the hand of the man. Tell me how we can do this on a nationwide deployment. And then they set me down in what the room title was, Tourism Courtroom. I'm like, what the hell? I was fined for running illegal tours. It's like, do you know you're not supposed to run a tour? Like, I'm running a tour. I mean, I didn't know this was a tour. This was like a ghost walk, right? He said,
Yeah.
oh, this is a tour. I said, no, no, no. Tour to me, someone carrying a flag with that little pouch of speaker and go like, this is the Merlion. That is the, that to me, that's a tour. He said, no, no, no. As long as you're bringing tourists out to show them sights in Singapore, that's a tour. So I said, okay, I'm not going to argue. You're right. Because I didn't know, right? How can I make this better? He said, well, you want to be a tour guide? Take on tour guide license. I'm like, okay, I'll take on tour guide license. 9 months, bro. From the time I start, the time I get my license, it's a 9 months journey. And at that point of time, I had a love-hate relationship with STB, or they had a love-hate relationship with me, because I was taking a legitimate license to be a tour guide, but they did not like me telling ghost stories. So as part of my journey and taking my test and all that, we were to go to places like Orchard Road and all, and they have a suggested script for us. Talk about Ion, talk about this, talk about Singapore, and I would go like, you know what was Takashimaya before it was a shopping mall? It was a cemetery. And they go like, no, don't say that. You know what was YMCA? Last time it was the capital headquarters. No, don't say that. Right? But they can't stop it because it is a fact. I'm not making shit up. This was historical fact. So I just became the guy that made it his specialty to talk about the darker side of Singapore. And after I got my license, like legitimately got my license, then I got other guides from like Chinatown and all that who came up to me like, congratulations. Hey bro, can I tell you some ghost stories? Because I can't tell, but you can. So then I became that expert of dark tourism in Singapore. And most people think that, oh, it's easy. It's the same thing as being a tour guide. No, I can tell you, dark tourism and normal tourism, two different things. Normal tourism, you're just a host. You engage, you bring them around, you take care of people, and that's important and that's great. But to be a dark tourism guide, you got to be a storyteller. You got to be able to look at your crowd, understand how they're reacting, react to them, and decide how you're going to tell your story. It's a whole different ballgame. So that's how I started my tour. And after I got my license, then I was like, free, baby. Like I was creating so many different tours. I was very thankful and very grateful to the Singapore Heritage Board who called me up and says, hey, we got a Heritage Festival coming up. I run a tour.
Okay.
It's like, why not? And this was really cute. So they said, so this is the first time we're running haunted tours, but we don't know how the community is going to react. Could you do 2 tours, Changi by night and Changi by day? So the Changi by day is all the facts and all the history minus the ghost story. And we'll let you run the Changi by night as well. Turns out when they advertise it, Changi by night sold out. The first week it was advertised and people were complaining, why do you advertise the tour that we cannot book? Because it's all full. So we had to create more tours, more dates. It's a good problem.
It's a great problem. Yeah.
And the day tour was not fully subscribed.
Oh my God. Of course not.
So then we could see the apple to apple comparison, what the community, the mainstream, not historians, we're talking about mainstream people, actually gravitated to. And then that year, Night Festival, they were like, yeah, May was such a success. Do you want to run something in Night Festival? Because it's Night Festival. Sounds like it's a perfect time to run a haunted tour. I'm like, okay. So we started, thanks to Peranakan Museum, they endorsed this and commissioned this rather. So we created Fort Canning Conspiracy, which you went.
I went to that.
Yeah. And that was for the Peranakan Museum.
Wow.
Started then.
Great.
So the following year, it's like, okay, we now know that public wants this. You're the only guy who runs dark tour. Can you give us something this year? Do you want to rehash your tour again? I'm already running this every other week. Like, so we got to do something special for the festival. Let me start. How about Haunting Tales of Waterloo? So we did the Waterloo Trail, the Outram Trail, Siglap Trail. June that year, that was just last year, the group from Pulau Ubin, some of them were guides as well. It's like, hey, what did you do for Pulau Ubin as well? So every June is Pulau Ubin Festival, Pulau Ubin Day, Pesta Ubin. And I would love to, because I should not run a tour in Pulau Ubin without a Pulau Ubin local.
Yeah.
It's the same way you cannot have a foreigner coming here to run a Singapore tour telling ghost story. Like, it doesn't quite match. You need a kind of local to bring you in. So now having that mandate from locals in Pulau Ubin, natives in Pulau Ubin says, let's do a tour. I started running and that became the Pulau Ubin tour. So this is the third year I'm running now, and the Singapore Heritage Festival folks are very excited. It says, what do you have for us this year? And this year's theme is maritime. So the only clue I can give you is I'm running a trail at places with maritime history.
Can you invite me to this?
Of course. And the other clue is it's probably one of the most haunted locations in Singapore. It's near here, John.
Is it?
Yeah, you should.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely know.
So that's the journey of from this book to how one thing led to another. It's all organic.
It's very organic.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. It's just kind of billowed on itself and everything.
Yeah. So the intention is always there. Like I want to do something. Something is important for the community. It's community first. If if you if you run any business and you think profit first and sell first, I don't think that's ever going to sustain. But when you think of the people first, what is this going to do for the people? Why is people going to like this? And you don't even have to follow trends. It's like, oh, people say I can't do it. No, if you feel that that's what you want to do, you believe in it, and you think this is the best for the people, just these two pillars is enough to set up any business,
Mm.
anything that's going to run long term.
Mm.
So that's the whole point. It's about building a legacy. And I always say that SC is not a business. I'm not the boss. I'm not the CEO. I'm the custodian.
Mm.
I take care of it. I grow it. I'm going to hand this torch off to somebody else. This is for the community. And that's it. That's how it's always been.
That's a wonderful way of viewing it.
Yeah.
And some good business wisdom there.
Thank you.
Well, so I have two questions. One of them is, what would be your advice to people for protecting themselves
Okay.
supernaturally?
I know this answer is not going to be as interesting as most people want to hear, but I honestly feel if you sleep well, you drink enough water, you're healthy,
Mm.
and you're positive, you will naturally ward away all these things. Naturally. Usually when I hear people who are getting possessed, afflicted, is they are not feeling good internally, not enough sleep, not eating well, not sleeping well, not having good relationships. And sometimes it's not even the relationships is the problem, it's they are the problem. They just view everything so negatively. So that is you being a magnet for all these entities to come to you. So if you are just happy, you're constantly going to the gym, you're taking it easy, and someone cuts you on the path, you're not going to go, oi, oi, then hold on to that anger the whole day. You're going to be fine. No ghost is going to touch you. Short of you doing stupid things and going out there to get into trouble, but all things being equal, that's the best way to protect yourself. But if you want something a little bit more than just natural defenses, then if you're religious, go to your temples, your churches, your mosques, be faithful. I think faith is a very strong and powerful defense to have. Faith in anything, right? Even faith in yourself is strong. And what I think most people rely on is, I hold on to this artifact, I hold on to this amulet, this cross. This is making me strong. If that is something you believe in, sure. Some people believe it's placebo. Why not? If it helps you defend it, sure, go ahead. But for those of you who want really something tangible, like you're waiting for me to give a tangible answer, I use things like Palo Santo, like sage, like crystals, iron even. Like keep an iron in your pocket. It's supposed to ward away things. So these are tangible things that you can use that are not spiritually or religiously related. Buy it. There are a few ways to buy it. I would recommend buying it from me because I get it from reliable sources. If you buy it from like Shopee or Taobao, you really don't know where they're coming from. But there's a huge price difference. So I leave it to you guys to research on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's some nice advice. The second question is, do you have one story that really stands out to you from your tour?
For my tours, I've been running this for 3 years, the Changi tour. There's one time, you might have seen this online with Mothership, because we gave them the footage. 15 packs. John and I make 17 packs. We're sitting there in front of the now defunct Raintree Hotel. Usually we'll take photographs and people will see shadows on the second story window. For some reason that day, I just sent a signal and I said, something's not right on the third floor window. Just check it out. Just as I said that, and then people had their phones up, right? The window opened by itself. So you could hear the audible.
Yeah.
And then you go, pong. So everyone got excited because everyone felt like they got their money's worth. And these are intelligent modern people. So we were looking at the trees, we were looking at other windows, we were trying to what's the wind direction? We try to just make sense of it. And you see that the way the window moves, open and close, it's has no, it doesn't flow with how the leaves are moving. And if you know how heavy those colonial windows are, once it closes, it's flushed. You need to push from inside to open up. And even if we said, oh, someone had a fishing line there, the angle of it to make it close, you need a fulcrum here in order to close the window. Frankly, I don't charge enough for the tour to invest in such things and hire an extra scare actor there and all.
To do all these hijinks.
No, yeah. Definitely not. It was not even a Halloween period, right? Nothing at all. So we took photos of the place and I sent it to 2 different spiritual masters. And I said, hey, can you take a look at this and just tell me without giving them any context? Then they look, oh, I think there's something here. It's like a creature, unidentifiable, but there is something there. And both said the same thing. So I said, okay, lah, it must be true. And being in the supernatural scene for quite some time, I don't like going into a spiritual place and challenging them. Right? I like to go in and go like, let's negotiate. So I went down the following week. I come bearing gifts. So I have all the papers, the candles and the incense. I did a prayer for them. And I said, let's negotiate. And the spirit says, yeah, we were very angry with you, trespassing our place, mocking us. We want you to stop. Through the medium, I said, no lah, tell them this is my tour lah. I can't stop lah. I've been running this for years. You stop. You know, like I would just avoid going through you, then I will go somewhere else. But I'm not going to, I have to walk past that. After the negotiation, I think everything was clarified. I was not mocking them. I was just telling them a story. So it turns out at the end of that negotiation, the spirits were very happy with my presentation, my gift and my explanation. And then they said, if you want us to scare your participants, let us know.
You let us know.
It's like, oh, no. It's all fine.
Okay.
It's all fine. It's okay. Just give us free reign to walk through. That's all I ask.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, thank you for sharing these stories. And actually, thank you for coming down here and chatting with us. In wrapping up, is there anything now that you are looking toward in the future that you want to do? And if it's private, you don't have to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
I don't have a private life, John.
Okay, that's good to know.
I don't have a private life. Everything's out there. And I'm proud of the things I do. And by putting it out there, community holds me accountable. So it's a two-way street. So the next 10 years of my life, which is SC's life, they're both one and the same now. You can't tear them apart anymore. Is to make myself less and less central to the entire SC universe. Because right now I'm the tour guide, I'm the guy who hosts, I'm the guy who writes story, I'm the guy who interview. I do everything. Realistically speaking, I will have my sunset moment. I will need to hand off the torch to someone for SC to grow. I'm not going to hold it to my grave. And in order to do that, I need to have succession planning. I need to do it properly, not just drop the ball today and says, all right, John, you take over the keys. I'm going on a holiday. So the whole idea is to turn whatever I do into processes, into business units held by various leaders. And this way I'm actually looking at the community right now. I don't want to hire outside the community. I don't want to bring in investors from outside the community. It's like, why? They have no love for what we do. They have no love for the community. Why not offer it to the community first? I have 50 lots of anyone who wants to take ownership of SC, like back SC up with capital. You own a piece of the lot. Second tier, we have patrons who wants to support us monthly without having a huge capital investment. That's open for you as well. People who want to make ad hoc donations, that's open for you as well. Or anyone else who just come in to communicate, interact, participate. You are equally important. Without you guys, we don't have the 180,000 people I have on YouTube and growing. So everyone in the community has a role to play. It's super important. And then the next question is, how do I bring this world together? I do not know you from before the tour. Like, you could be a fan of my show, as some of my fans are, and I have no way to connect with you because you're all on IG and YouTube. So I'm creating what we call the SCU passport, the Supernatural Confessions Universe passport, to bring all this together so that anything that you do in this world, we can reward it. And I can work with third parties. I can bring things in. I can grow this. Everyone who comes in, people who are working, supporting, donating, all have a place in this universe. Slowly, I move myself out. When the right people are able to take over, then I'm going to travel around the world.
That's good.
Travel around the world, and every place I go, I'm going to give talks. I'm going to learn about their local law. I'm going to film the local law, sit down with shamans in the forest, talk to the Mr. Papa Midnight in Haiti. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be that guy who goes around the world, learn all this law, talk about them openly, and who knows, maybe Netflix might give me a special.
Yeah.
So that's my 10-year plan.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Good luck with it. It sounds very, I hope to see it on Netflix.
One day.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I heard it here first. Well, again, thank you for coming. And I'll be keeping my eyes peeled for Netflix.
Yeah.
No, but I think it can seriously be done because there's a lot of interest in the supernatural. And I think what's wonderful about your plan is it's not just knowing your local lore. It's seeing what's going on around the world.
Yeah.
So please do bring that for us, seriously. I think that would be lovely. Thank you and cheers. Thank you all for watching.